Alright, here we are late in the day, Modesto, California. Just slightly warm, just a little bit warm today. Looking at a very nice 1934 Ford Victoria. Very nicely done, high-end street rod. You've got to hang on to the end of the video where I'll cover the undercarriage, where the finishes on the bottom of the fenders match that of the top side of the car, and the underside, and the body, and the chassis, and the frame. Very well built, high-end, all steel. Street rod restoration, very nicely done. It has about, we're going to get all the specs at Spud's Garage. The owner's yet to give me the list of things, and we'll get that when we post it on the website. So we'll get a little bit more detail in the specs and the details and all that kind of stuff. But it has about a 3.5-inch chop on the roof here. The roof panel's been filled on it. The chop is done right too. You'll notice there's a lot of guys that'll do these chops and they won't put the hinges, all 3 hinges on. So this upper hinge is really important because these doors are heavy when they're hung this way. The doors shut very nice on this car, and a very nicely done chop on it. Nice little peep mirrors. It has electronic remotes to get in and out of it. It has power windows. We'll get at what's underneath the hood here in just a minute. It has Boyd Coddington. I don't know the style of those wheels, but they're a perfect fit for this car. It's finished in a bright red, like a Porsche red, or a GM torch red would probably be a better description of it. Underneath the hood is a 355 cubic inch Chevy V8 crate engine with a Y-end blower on it. Just a small 256 blower, just enough to give it a little bit of extra force feed. Very beautiful presentation of the body. Like I talked about, it has fully independent 4-wheel suspension, so it has up front here, it has Mustang 2 style with tubular control arms and rack and pinion steering. It steers really nice. I've moved it around quite a bit here and driven it. It's loaded up with air conditioning, turbo 350 transmission. In the back end is a very nice, all chromed out Jag rear suspension, fully independent inboard brakes, so 4-wheel disc brakes on it. Willwood disc up front, power assisted. The grille and the bright work and the finish is unbelievable. It's just the bottom side of the fenders I'll cover for you here in just a minute, but it has a lot of nice subtle pinstriping here, very professionally done. It's actually under the clear coat too, so it was done pre-clear coat, so to speak. The grille is just beautiful. The cowl vent has been filled, and the windshield is a flush fit now. It does have a windshield wiper. This car is just beautiful on the underside, so I don't know if I'd want to drive it in the rain. All steel fenders, all steel body, subtle modifications to it, original hood sides, but we'll get up underneath here and you'll see the shiny fenders, but it's the same way all the way through. The engine matches the body and the chassis is fully boxed. Looks like they use 34 rails. Again, we'll get to the specs at Spud's Garage. There's a nice little scrolling right here. It's just so subtle you don't notice it. There's one along the belt line here. It's a slight little, the only flaw I could find on the whole car is just right down here. Just below this line, it would be an easy touch-up. It's not on the upper side, so you really can't see it. Again, these doors are fit just right. They correctly did it by repositioning the upper hinge. I believe they repositioned all the hinges. Has a really cool interior in it. Actually, this is wild boar insert. So it's actually, the inserts on the seats are from a wild boar that the gentleman had acquired on a hunt. Very nice fitted Mercedes style wool carpet in it. We get you over here to the dash. Air conditioning underneath the dash has the wild boar suede on it. AC controls. We'll get to the rest of it here as we go around here. We'll go around to the driver's side too. Headliner, the same thing. We'll actually get you into the trunk, which is power. But again, very nice, all steel, whistle straight, pro done. This car is competed at it was invited to Blackie's when it was first completed. It was completed about 12 years ago in less than 500 miles. You'll see that when we get to the undercarriage. You couldn't have any more than that on it. The stance is just right. Looking at it in the sunshine here. Most of these Vickies, or at least the earlier Vickies, 32, 33, 34 is the only year of this era that actually had a rear trunk. So this one's it's had the handle shaved on the back, and it's a power assisted, and it is upholstered like the interior of the car. There's a switch underneath the dash. We'll show you where that is when we get underneath here. The tires themselves are Goodyear Eagle RSAs. In the rear, they're a 17. We're going to go backwards here and go up to the front, cover that for you. And the fronts are a 15, so it gives it that nice little rake. Step back and let you take a look at it. I might ramble on a little bit here today on this one. This is a really nice car. You know, I know early Fords well, and this is a beautiful 34 Vicky. The body's just spectacular. Pretty hard to capture it. I'm probably going to end up with some sun, but you can see the reflections in the side of the car here. Again, subtle pinstriping right here. This is a power deck lid like I just talked about. Taillight stanchions are shortened, tightened up, and no bumpers on the back or the front. It has a Hot Dog 2003 is the pinstriping on it. Beautiful stance there, eh? Hey, if you're looking for an all-steel Vicky, nice early Ford. Again, this is under the clear coat, so it's not going to come off when somebody waxes it or that type of thing, or professionally done. Same little scrolling on the left rear fender here. We'll give you a little peek at the back here. I'm going to backtrack just a little bit. You'll see the Jag suspension. Again, just hang on, we'll get you underneath the hood and we'll get you up on the lift. Making it back around here. Factory hood attachments right here, so it still retains a lot of its factory beauty. You'll see the leather and wild boar insert there. Wild leather panels here. All this is a fine grade, like an Italian leather. Back seats done the same way. Pretty hard to see. I know we got the light a little bit weird right now. You'll see the insert up there too. Seats are fully adjustable, both driver and passenger, so you can bring them forward, flip the backrest forward, and get in there. There's a nice tilt steering column on it, early GM, like mid-70s type. The VIN is on 2 locations. It's up on the chassis there. It's also in the door jamb here. It's an 18 VIN, correct for this car. Again, it's all steel. We'll get you want to go through the end of the video. If you're seriously interested in this car, wait till you get to the undercarriage. I mean, it is just unbelievable. Or fast forward to it if you want. Nice leather pocket here. There's not a lot of room because of the AC. Vintage air conditioning controls are here. Billet dash insert. These miles are not on the build. It's only got about 500 miles since it was done. It was a hot rod before, and they utilized the dash insert out of the previous build, but it was completely redone. Very high end. The carpeted radio. This is a faceplate. We never turn the radios on, but it does have an audio system. Fire it up here for you. Go over the gauges. 60 pounds of oil pressure, 14 volts. Temps going up. We've only moved it around a little bit. Quarter tank of fuel. It actually steers very easy. I'll take it for a little spin around the parking lot here and show you when I'm moving. Or before I put it away, so to speak, kind of give you a feel of that boar's head leather inserts. Boar's head wild boar. I'll say it right. Thinking of beer. About time to have a beer. Doors shut really nice, like I talked about, both sides. Just nice and subtle, very drivable. Alright, well this is something you won't find on an earlier Vicky. This is nice about a 34, because you end up with some storage room that you'll never get with a 32 or a 33. Anyway, same level upholstery, the wild boar insert here. This is a power deck lid. Fit and finish all the way through. Door jamb to door jamb here. Batteries back here in the back. Fuel fill is right there. Very, very nice. This is just nice and subtle horsepower underneath the hood. A lot of fun to drive. Cover some of the detail finishes. The same paint follows through top to bottom on this car, like we've mentioned all along. It has the scrolling just like it does in places throughout the exterior of the body here. Kind of carries through into the engine compartment. It has a nice billet firewall insert here. Underneath the hood here is a 355 cubic inch small block Chevy crate engine. We'll get all the specs and stuff. We don't have all the specs with us today. We're going to gather it all together and post it all at Spud's Garage for you. It has a Y-end intake manifold, 256, model 256, so it's just enough light boost to make it fun to drive. Has a chrome plated Holley carburetor with dual feed on it. Share that with you. Early Holley style air filter. It fits underneath the hood here nice, gives it a nice feel. Love these valve covers on it. GM HEI ignition. It has air conditioning and heat. The heat lines run down here low and the AC runs down low. The receiver dryer is right down here, very low. Has what appears to be a cooling components electric cooling fan. Serpentine belt drive for the YM blower. Aluminum intake manifold, obviously for a Y-end blower. Come over here on the driver's side, pick up some sunshine for you. It makes it nice and bright. Kind of give you a feel. The blower's polished. Again, the GM HEI ignition. The VIN number here is on the chassis, which is a 34 VIN number. It's also in the door jamb by the state of California that matches that, so it's got a correct VIN. A lot of custom brackets that are on this. High amp alternator. It has a polished coolant reservoir here. It's probably a Walker radiator up in there. It is. You can see the Walker on it right there. It's finished in body color. Turbo 350 automatic transmission. Has ceramic coated long tube header so it breathes well. It has the anti-back out or intake or header bolts here. Excuse me for that. They're definitely headers. Has a Jag rear end, fully independent suspension like we talked about. You can see the button head hardware that's put on the front of the head here, so the level of detail is all the way through. We'll get this up on the lift here very shortly for you and cover that. Bottom side of the hood is finished. Just, you can see the finish there. You can see reflections of the louvers. Alright, we told you we'd take it for a short little drive, but I wanted to show you where the switches were on it. This switch here is for the rear deck lid, forward and backward. Obviously headlights here, and they start the ignition here. The power window switches are on the bottom side of the dash here, right there. One on one, and then there's one over on the passenger side. We'll fire it back up and take it around the parking lot here for you. Starts right up. I am turning it with one hand and holding the camera in the other. Take it for a little tour around the parking lot. We're thinking you get the idea by now. The undercarriage on this is really special. This is a very high-end build, and Drool Factor Plus. So we're going to go through here and share what we talked about during the walk around. Fortunate enough to have a lift. The bottom side of the fenders, the paint is just as nice as the top side of the car. The chassis itself looks like they used original rails and boxed it. We'll get farther into that as we go to the back. It has Mustang 2 front suspension with tubular control arms, fully independent front suspension with adjustable coilovers, which means you can set the nose of this wherever you like. The chin is very nice here. So it has rack and pinion, has a stabilizer bar, chrome tubular control arms. I'll get it out of my mouth. Has polished aluminum backing plates, polished calipers on it. All braided AN lines. So bottom side of the 355, blown 355. Long tube headers, so it's going to have some good breathing. Polished stainless AN line brake lines. All chrome components here. The bottom side of the fender. Frame rails have all been boxed. My finger up here so you can see it. Has power assisted brakes on it, 4-wheel disc brakes. Those look like early Willwood calipers up front here. Has trans cooler right here. Inline fuel pump, electric fuel pump here. Has a turbo 350 automatic transmission. Custom built exhaust with a really nice crossover here so you can drop the tranny out if you needed to. This member comes out. Tubular structure, again boxed frame. There's a power assist for the brakes right there. The booster is separate from the master. Vacuum assisted. See the floor pans, the finish on the floor pans is just like the top side of the car. Very high-end build. Bottom side of the running boards are coated with a lizard skin kind of material. Back here I'm going to turn around. The tailpipes have all been chrome plated, and the mufflers. 4-wheel independent suspension, so it has jag suspension in the rear here. Very nice. You can adjust the coilovers here. They're fully adjustable. We can also change the angle of them. You'll see up the adjustments on the top there. Very nice riding hot rod. If you want one you can drive. This car will definitely do it. Inboard disc brakes. Again, chrome half shafts. Chrome lower control arms. Chrome strut rods. Just beautiful. Spend a little time underneath here so you really get a good feel. Bottom side of the fenders like we talked about. Definitely don't want to drive this one on a gravel road, that's for sure. Chrome rear diff cover here. A nice little vent runs up to the top here for the crankcase. I'm thinking you get the idea. You're looking for a really well built 34 Vicky, all steel. This should trip your trigger, that's for darn sure. Anyway, there you have it. Go to spudsgarage.com. Thanks for hanging around to the end of the video, and have a great day.